This recipe I have not made before, but it's basically everything I love about Spain in one pan. So it's gonna be brilliant, I know it. I can't wait to make this one and see how it turns out. It's a version of patatas bravas come paella come Spanish beans with no beans. So it's gonna be interesting. Hang around and you'll see how we go. First thing I'm going to do is take my favourite Spanish ingredient of all time, which is chorizo, and turn it into a mince. So I've got a little jug blender. Now you could put it in, cut it into rounds like this and put it in like that, render some of the flavour out, caramelise the edges, and you'd get a similar result. But there is so much beautiful flavour in the chorizo that I want to get as much out as I possibly can. The finer I chop it, the more surface area I get, the more flavour I get. So I'm going to pop one which has already been sliced into rounds in there, and then another one which I've just roughly chopped up. Put the lid back on, and then blitz this up into a mince. So what we've done there is dice that as finely as I can possibly dice it, and I can smell it already, all that beautiful flavour. So the more surface area you get, as I said, the more flavour you're going to be able to get out of the chorizo. And we want that flavour out in the pan because we're going to cook everything in the oil that comes out of this chorizo. All the other components are going to be cooked in. So I'll pop that into a cold pan. Like we always say, start with a cold pan. If you want flavour out of what you're cooking, then put it into a cold pan. If you want the flavour and the moisture to stay in what you're cooking, start with a hot pan. So we're after all of that garlic, all of that paprika, all of that beautiful pork fat. We want it out in the pan so we can cook in it. So that's going to take about 5 minutes. We'll start to see the oil leach out. We'll give it a little bit of oil just to help it along. I'm going to use the pepperberry canola. We'll come back to that in 5 minutes and you'll see all of that flavour in the pan. I've taken my chorizo out because I don't want it to overcook. You can see all of that flavoured oil that's sitting in there. Pop our chicken into that and fry that off. So we're going to cook things in stages for this dish because everything has a different cooking time, because we chop the chorizo so finely, and because we want to leave as much flavour in the pan as we can. So every time we add something, we're adding more flavour to the pan, more flavour to the pan. And we're going to end up with a beautiful flavoured sauce to stick to all of our goodies. My chicken I'm going to cook off until I've got some real nice golden colour on the outside. And I'll take that out, put it in the bowl with the chorizo. Do the same with the potatoes. So I'll chop them, put them in, get some colour on the outside, take them out. And then the same with the prawns. They'll go in, get some colour, take them out, and then we'll build our sauce. Prawns can come out. Pop them on top of everything else. And now I'm going to start to make a really, really quick sauce. So a good dash of red wine to deglaze our pan, which will bring all of that yummy stuff that's sitting on the bottom of our pan up, burn off all the alcohol. Chili flakes, depending on how hot you like it, it's probably a teaspoon of chili flakes. 1 tin of crushed tomatoes. Give this a mix together. I don't want this to be a super wet sauce. I want it to be quite dry. So I'm just going to reduce this down for about 5 minutes before everything else then goes back into the pan. So I wanted this to be really, really rich, almost jammy. I want to season this really well because nothing there has been seasoned. The chorizo will be salty, but nothing else has been seasoned. So I'm going to season this, but I'm also going to season my sauce. I'll give it a taste. Oh, yum. It's so good. All the flavours that were on the bottom of that pan. So maybe 2 pinches of salt in there, so that's nicely seasoned. So you can see the bubbles are small, so it's really thick and jammy, which is what I want. A couple more minutes, and everything else can go back in. So once all this goes in, we've pretty much made our stewy sort of Spanish concoction. To go with that, some freshness to go on top. I'm going to slice a red onion really thinly to put on top. We've got some chopped shallots or spring onions, depending on what you call them. And that's it. We'll tear some parsley over the top of that, and then you're ready to go. A big piece of crusty bread and a bottle of that red wine, and I feel like I'm back in Spain. I'll pop my thinly sliced red onion just in the middle like that. Got my spring onions, so I'll just place around. Parsley, and just pick. I don't know what to say. This is, as I said, at the beginning of this recipe, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. It was sort of all my favorite things on a plate and we'll see what happens. But that is just unreal. Oh, yum. Try this one at home. Good glass of red wine. Invite a friend over and then get them to get takeaway. Oh, that's so good.